Welcome back, Rainmakers, to the Crypto Rain channel. I am your host, Jay Murph, and today we're going to be talking about some of the things we've been talking about related to NFTs and gaming, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the next phase of where the crypto space will move to, because it kind of goes in cycles between DeFi, NFTs, and gaming, and then other spaces. And so one of the ways you make some massive increases in your portfolio is by hitting the wave before everyone else does and identifying what might be next, because what happens is things go on runs and then they trade sideways while something else goes on a run. So what do I think is going to run next? Well, join me and let's go. Join me, Rainmakers. All right, so let's get into it. No, I don't want to turn this on. So we're here at CoinMarketCap, and I just wanted to share with you kind of my thoughts. We've been following a few things. Well, we follow a ton of different things. But lately, everyone has noticed that gaming and the NFT space has gone amazing. So I want to give some updates on that. Especially want to tell you where my thoughts are going for the future. Now, I've just been a crypto investor for 4 years. I definitely don't pretend to know everything. I did make a ton of mistakes when I was brand new. I make a lot less mistakes now. One of the big mistakes I made was I didn't sell and take profits during the massive bull run of 2017. And so I constantly give you updates on what I think as far as timing going on in the market. If you want that kind of update, subscribe to the channel. Join us, Rainmakers, because this year is a good year to make it rain. So now my YouTube channel is new. We're only 2 months old. I'm learning and growing and figuring out some things. I did make some investment in some good technology that I'm still learning how to use. So if you expect perfection from me, you're probably not going to find it. Especially, I review a lot of different cryptos. Now, some of them come to me from the subscribers, because I tell my subscribers that if you give me a token that you really like and you tell me why you're passionate about it in as many words as possible, not as few words as possible, as many words as possible, and what the market cap is, I will at least put my eyes on it. And if I like it, I'm going to review it. And many of the ones that I have reviewed come from our subscribers. So thank you very much. You have actually helped all of us make some good gains, because you turned me on some projects. In fact, one of my favorite projects came a month ago from one of our subscribers. Orion Protocol wasn't the subscriber, that was the project that came from him. And it was trading about $6. I took a look at it, loved it, did some videos on it, bought some Orion, and it's now at about $20. So thank you. So do I like all of them? No, and it's not like most of these projects I don't like. I just cover the ones I really, really like. And so I appreciate all the good suggestions from many of you, and actually I've covered a bunch of them. I want to talk about a few today. Now, I talked about GoChain. Do you remember? So if you've been following Ecomi or Ecomi, they have an app called Vivi. And on that app, you can get, now Vivi, do you notice it's stuck here? The reason it's stuck is because they're doing a new launch of Batman Black and White collectibles, NFTs, and there's a new ultra rare that's coming out, and I was on trying to get it when it uploaded, and I was right at the purchase screen for the new super rare Nightwing, and it failed on me. Yeah, that happens. And the whole thing, Vivi, just totally went down and has not come up. It just, this loading screen still, like 2 hours later. And so a lot of interest in these NFTs, and you see this when things get really hot, is you see the servers get overwhelmed for all the different projects. And this is just a sign that we're in the bull market. And thankfully, I think we're only at least halfway through, maybe right at the halfway through mark, and there's plenty of gains to be made. We haven't hit the massive parabolic runs that we will likely see. However, we frequently talk about how this market is doing compared to the previous one, and we are seeing some differences. So now I like to bring up this chart. This is Bitcoin dominance versus the altcoins. In 2017 is, different from how 2021 is shaping up. Now, right in this time, 2017, Bitcoin completely dominated the whole market cap of the crypto space, taking up 96% share of the whole space entirely. And so then we saw some altcoins run at this time frame, so March through May, and then Bitcoin picked up some dominance, and then there was this big womp where altcoins made massive runs again, and then Bitcoin peaked out its dominance right here. Now this was right near the peak of Bitcoin, and then altcoins had a massive run. So we're seeing something very, very different this year, and we're just seeing altcoins run much earlier, much stronger. And so it's kind of been a wait and see. We didn't know how this year would play out, and we were all making our best guesses how it would go. In fact, in this Bitcoin dominance, there was a head and shoulders that completed, or it didn't complete yet, and I don't know that it will completely complete, but the peak of Bitcoin dominance was right at the end of December, and since then altcoins have been running, and I think they'll continue to run, although it might cycle between them some. So what is going to be the next thing? If you notice, from January through the end of February, there was a massive run on everything related to DeFi. And even some other altcoins ran up massively. And now everything related to gaming is doing amazing. So one of the big ones is Engine. And if you're trading Engine, you probably noticed it broke out of this pattern, or looks to be breaking out quite solidly of this pattern. And so Engine is probably going to have some gains here. So it's clear breakout. It's pretty much confirmed. And so then it will probably have a run up from here. How big of a run? Well, we can make our guess this way. So, yeah, it might go up to 250 in the near short term. And so now I own a bunch of this. I bought it back when nobody was talking about gaming tokens, because that's what I like to do. I like to go against the trend, not with the trend. Do I sometimes buy with the trend? Absolutely, especially if I catch the trend early. Like, you know, this would be a perfect swing trade, and I would totally swing trade this. And maybe I'll swing trade it some more. I already have a bunch of Engine. So with this breakout breaking to the upside, that's exactly when I look for my entries, and it's happening right now. I mean, let's look at the 30-minute. Let's get a little bit closer here. This is what I look for swing trades. So it's trading right here. I mean, what happens is usually it'll break out. It will come back down and retest. See if it'll let me check the 15. Retest right on that line. So it broke out. It came back. Is then retesting on this line and then breaking, looking like it's breaking out above it. And so you can wait a little bit to see if it breaks out a little bit more. And then that usually means it's then going to run up to its next major resistance points. Now, the next major resistance points could be, you know, they might be here. And so this is just historical where it's had some trouble before. Obviously here. Alright, so I'm going to take out this graphs just so we can see more clearly. And then we're in price discovery mode again, because I'm not sure it's ever hit this high. At least not, yeah, it's never hit this high before. So we're in price discovery mode. We don't know where it would go. Those other lines I showed you around 250 is my best guess. And so it could run up to there. We could actually take a measurement from here to here and move that up, and that would take us to about the same spot, maybe a little bit below. So this is what a breakout looks like when you're swing trading, and this is what you look for. I hope that's helpful. Now I am on tradingview.com. It's a little bit, in many videos I walk you through how to get here. My viewers who are here all the time, I'm not going to go through it because you all know how to do this. But I did want to look at GoChain. This is one I talked about, and if you remember, I drew this out on the channel. And so one of the big patterns that I follow is I look for W's. What a W is, now there's a technical name for it. I call it the non-technical name because it looks a lot like a W. So this one was a little bit weird. They usually have a little bit more rounded bottom than what you see here, but rounded bottom. Ooh, just like a W. And then what happens right at the end of the W, it then usually comes back and retests. Not always, but often retests where this middle of the W is, and then it shoots up. And I was showing you, I think we were right about here, and I said, yep. And I drew it like this, and actually it's gone parabolic much sooner, like very, very quickly. Now, why is GoChain so in the news, or what happened? Well, what's funny is most people miss this. But Vivi, the one we were just talking about that's doing so well, which is the Ecomi token, or the OMI token, was built on GoChain. And so what's funny is Ecomi was totally taking off. And so if we go to OMI versus USD, see if it'll let us. It's not going to let us. So why don't we look at it this way? We're going to look at it here. There we go. So this is built on the GoChain blockchain. And so one of the subscribers brought it up, but I was already thinking about it. Now, I own GoChain. I've had it actually since the ICO of 2018, and I've bought more since, when it kept dropping down and dropping down, and literally it went to a market cap that was ridiculously low, and I bought some more, about 1 million of them, and it has since run up. Then it came back down, and this is Ecomi. I did not buy this, unfortunately, so it's gone crazy. Then look at this, it's got a higher high here, and maybe it's just then going to do some retracing before probably running up some more. This is where a lot of the momentum is. Now, there's a lot of information we don't have on this. Now, they do have a token burn. Every time you buy gems through the app and you buy then NFTs with them, they do burn some of the circulating supply. Some people say, oh, that circulating supply is so high the token will never be worth anything. Circulating supply does matter, and the token is priced accordingly, but it matters in ways that you often wouldn't think. So yeah, there's almost 1 trillion tokens, right? 750 billion. They do have a token burn, so people don't realize this number goes down every single month by a lot. Number two, it's priced accordingly, so really the bigger thing to look at is what the market cap is at. And that's actually what we don't know. So I saw a number that said there's 110 billion in the circulating supply, and I don't know if that's correct, but if it is correct, then if you times that by this, that tells you that it's about a 350 million market cap, which isn't too bad for one of the leading NFT projects. And one of the reasons they're the leading NFT projects is they have an app on the iPhone and on whatever other platform that you can use on your phone, and it's got some really cool features. So you can buy things without knowing anything about crypto right on the app, and you can get these collectibles, which I think collectibles will do well even when the crypto market has a pullback and a big retracement, and then enters the bear market, which we call the crypto winter. And so collectibles that are easy for non-crypto people to buy, trade, and use will still do well during that, because they're not crypto dependent. It doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is doing for people to be interested in those collectibles that they can now own and they can then sell. Hallelujah, because don't we love being able to buy things? Imagine if you were able to sell all those cool World of Warcraft items that you know you have, and sell those for real money. Huge innovation. I know I used to do that on a game called EVE Online back in 2003. And I made some really good money. Over a period of about 18 months, I made about $7,200, which is a lot and not a lot. But that's back before eBay enforced the ban of trading, right? And that was a lot of fun doing that. Now, I don't know exactly how much money I put into the game to earn that. That's just what the output was. How much was put into it? Probably less than that by a bunch, but maybe at least $1,000 spent, on the game through different things. All right. Fun to make money through video games, and I'm looking forward to the integration of video games and these on higher level games, because isn't it fun to make money while you're playing something you enjoy? So that's why I get the most excited about this space. So back to GoChain, they are driving that, and so I guess people other than just us started realizing it, and GoChain has been taking off. Though I want to show you something interesting. Look how small the market cap really is. Now this is a pretty fast blockchain. The developers have been pretty cool. I haven't had a lot of updates from them. I used to get updates from them 2 years ago, not directly, but through some friends, and they've been pretty quiet. And they didn't even announce this deal with Ecomi, which is a huge deal. And they did some big announcement 2 months ago about how they're helping, I guess, farmers in Saudi Arabia trace some of the food that they're delivering and stuff through what they call GoTrace. My opinion, this is a much bigger announcement, their deal with Vivi and Ecomi, and that went completely below the radar. But when I was checking this out, I noticed, oh my gosh, this is built on GoChain when I was looking at Vivi, and so I was like, wow, that's going to do well. And so then I bought some more. Now, I didn't still have 1 million tokens, because when it went all the way up here, I did take some profits because I'd been buying down here, and I sold off half and rolled. That's where I got the funds to buy Orion Protocol. So I was selling GoChain to buy Orion Protocol, and so when it dipped down here, I actually took some profits on Engine because I had been buying down here, and I rolled. I think I sold off 20%, and I rolled that into GoChain, which turns out to have been a really, really good buy, because GoChain was down here. All right, and it's absolutely going parabolic. So it's doubled since I bought it here. And I imagine it has a lot more room to run, because look at where that market cap is. And look at, well, this, I didn't remember that they have an infinite supply, so I do need to review and look at how much inflation there is. That can affect the price substantially. All right, so what is next from here? We've gone from beginning of January, it was all about DeFi, 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 and everything related to DeFi ran. So now it's gaming and NFTs, gaming and NFTs, gaming and NFTs. Well, I think the next phase is going to be a little bit boring compared to these phases. I think it's Bitcoin. And the reason I think it's Bitcoin is because Bitcoin has been trading sideways for a long time, but it's now breaking out. And by a long time, it's actually been trading sideways since the end of December. So it's been 2.5 months almost now, and it's due. In fact, if you were to chart this out, and I guess we could, I didn't set that up before, but it's breaking out from its pattern and making some runs higher. And often when Bitcoin runs, most of the altcoins versus their Bitcoin price or their Satoshi price suffer. Now, versus the US dollar, they might stay about the same, but what's happening is Bitcoin is going up and their price is decreasing in Satoshi levels, but they might stay the same versus the US dollar. So I think we're going to see a run on Bitcoin, and then we'll see another run on some other altcoins. Now what's going to be interesting is to see which altcoins continue to run with this. One of the ones that I think will, because it tends to, is Celsius Network. Now, there's some tokenomics behind why, but this has been a great one for those that got on. But look at it trading sideways like this. And trading sideways is like pulling back the rubber band so that when you let it go, it just zooms. And look at this zooming it did from September through right near the end of December, and actually kept going up through the 3rd of January. And then it's had a lot of retracement. So it's been trading sideways with Bitcoin. And the reason it tends to run with Bitcoin is because Celsius has a great app on your phone that you can send Bitcoin, you can send other altcoins, even Cell token, and you can have them, and just holding them on the app, they pay you interest on it. What's cool though is if you have a certain amount of your portfolio in Cell tokens, they pay you higher interest rates on some of the other tokens that you have. And so what happens is when people want to hold a lot of Bitcoin, they convert a bunch of their Bitcoin into Celsius tokens to get the higher return rates. And so that's why Celsius tends to run with Bitcoin. When people are thinking Bitcoin and they want to be making interest on that Bitcoin rather than just holding it and not getting any interest on it, they send it over to their wallet, they realize, oh, I need to buy a whole bunch of Celsius tokens so I can qualify, I think, at the platinum level where you get the highest interest rate on your Bitcoin. And so then they do that, and it drives Celsius up for some major gains, because from here it went from 36 cents all the way up to over 10x to 649, so it went 20x. Then it's been trading sideways, and right now the total market cap at 2 billion. Yeah, this could be, I don't know if this is a 200 billion market cap during this cycle overall, but I think 50 to 100 billion is probably reachable. And so that's about a 25x. If everything goes crazy, 50x from here is just my best guess. This isn't financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor myself. I make these guesses for my own projections and what I think is going to happen. I make my investment decisions off of this. I don't recommend you make your investment decisions off of my thoughts for my own portfolio, because I find some of my subscribers, we actually think a lot alike, but nobody thinks exactly alike, and so it might not fit what you're looking for. So just bear that in mind, but do research, watch other channels, see what you think. These are just where my thoughts are, and I don't love to follow and jump in what everyone else is jumping in. I look at what has good potential that everyone isn't jumping in yet, and that's when I make moves over to buy them. And I did just pick up some Celsius network, some more Celsius token right from Uniswap this last week, and I might look for more buys, especially if I get some more of the ones I currently have that are doing well on the NFT space. That doesn't run for forever. It eventually hits a peak and trades sideways, just like Celsius token did here. And now I don't tend to sell my Celsius token. I just leave it staked, earning rewards, and it pays out weekly. It's really fun to get that notice on Mondays and be like, wow, you earned this much interest. So I didn't sell it even when it had gone crazy, because this is one I just tend to hold, and then I look for good entry points to pick up. So I picked up actually some here. This might be bouncing off this trend line down, and if it comes down, make for some really good points to buy in, especially if it comes anywhere near this lower level again. It may or may not before it then breaks out. I think what will happen is when Bitcoin, if it continues to break out and run higher, you might see a break on Celsius token. Now, why do I like Celsius token over Bitcoin? Well, it tends to run farther, faster during the same period. So if you were to go from August to basically the end of December, it went 20x. And if we were to look at Bitcoin, and we looked at August, so it went from essentially 10,000, well, 11,000 up to let's say 40,000. Let's just say it did a 4x. So Celsius did a 20x, and this did, something is wrong with this. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it did a 4x while Celsius did a 20x. So that's why I'm a fan of Celsius over even holding Bitcoin directly. Although I still hold some Bitcoin, I just leave it in Bitcoin, actually staked. Not staked, but it's in one of the platforms that just earns interest every month. And I'm looking for the right point after this next run of Bitcoin. I will roll that all into some altcoins. So just looking for the right timing. Now, if I had understood better what this year would do in Bitcoin dominance, if you look, even Bitcoin dominance, the highest hit 72%. If I had understood better what it was going to do, I would have rolled it all into altcoins right here. But I've always kept a percentage of my portfolio in Bitcoin, not because it's the fastest gainer, but because you just don't always know exactly how alts are going to run versus it. So my thought would have been, looking if I could go back and redo it, this was a great point that I could have rolled it into altcoins, or even right here I could have rolled it into altcoins, because a lot of the altcoins that I have been in, like Cardano and others, have vastly outperformed Bitcoin. So I look back and I say, wow, At one point, I could have bought 500,000 Cardano per Bitcoin, and that would be worth 500 and let's just say $500,000 now, and a Bitcoin's trading at, what's it trading at today? It's trading at 57,000. So, what? Cardano's outperformed it like 9x over what Bitcoin's increase has been. Oh well. I did have lots of Cardano though, so it doesn't make me too sad. All right, guys, so those are my thoughts. I want to thank each of you for joining me. You have helped the channel growth go phenomenal. I thank all of you for that. Now, I appreciate your patience as I'm figuring out how to use my new systems. I did change around the setup so that I can stand and talk to you. I still have my old setup. It's just sitting there, and I'll use it sometimes because it's easy and fast for me to just sit down at my regular computer and talk to you. But I want to thank each of you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow and reach more people. I try to be different. Like, I try to give my thoughts on stuff as an investor. So I'm not a news channel, though I probably will start doing news updates sometime in the future when I can hire a producer to be there with me. And but right now, I just go over the tokens I'm watching and I'm interested in. I do a little bit of news, but it's more token reviews. It's more my thoughts and what I'm interested in. And I try to share with you why I'm interested in things so that you can understand the analysis behind it. So then if it fits with what you want, it can be helpful. And if not, that's totally okay too. I did want to share this quick message about the channel in general.
Thank you for joining the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murphy. Also, if you subscribe to the channel and join us Rainmakers, well, the goal of this year is to make this year completely rain on all of us. And we're going to do that by having on some of the best guests and some of the best project teams come on and answer our questions as we get the best information so that this year will be phenomenal for all of us. See you soon.
All right, for those, wow, yeah, that's lovely. For those of you still here, I wanted to share some special thoughts with you. So I talked a little bit about a blockchain that's out there that none of us were aware of. That's absolutely incredible. Now, it's different from some things that you're used to. So think of Cardano. And Cardano can hit 1,000 transactions per shard with their Hydra plan that's coming up, and it's not yet released and it's not yet functioning, so it'll come out with more of the GoChain updates, but that's pretty impressive, and they can scale that. If they add 1,000 shards, that's 1 million transactions per second, and it is faster than anything out there that at least I was aware of until about 2 weeks ago. And I talked to this project. Now it's different. It's built to help the existing business world do really well. There's some things that projects like Cardano and Ethereum can't do. Now, if you think about medical records in the United States, one of the downsides of medical records in the United States is that there's this thing called HIPAA requirements, which HIPAA, I think, stands for a law that was passed. And so medical records have to be HIPAA compliant, which means that data has to be very secure and it can't be shared with the wrong people because, when medical data gets into the hands of people that shouldn't have it, be damaging to somebody. So they passed some laws to protect patients related to that. So one of the reasons why medical records can't be on the blockchain, especially one like Ethereum, is because, well, the law requires that the information be stored on servers that are secured related to that level of security, and they have to be controlled by the people running them. So when you have a fully decentralized system, you can't store sensitive data on it like that. Even if you have it secured with cryptography, you're still not within the guidelines of what the law allows. And so this other blockchain, number one, with a total of 3 nodes, they were able to do 8 million transactions per second. But secondarily to that, they are it's able to have, it's not a decentralized blockchain, it's a centralized blockchain. In some ways it's decentralized, but they can create nodes specific to, like, say they made a deal with a big healthcare providing company or health insurance company or a big hospital. They could then set it up on certain servers related to them. They could have multiple servers And that way they're in compliance with the HIPAA laws, and they could set up the system to run all the healthcare for all those hospitals. So in some ways, it competes where Cardano and Ethereum and all the other blockchains can't, because it is centralized that way. So really their competitor is Hashgraph. And Hashgraph has some pretty good stuff, and it's really fast, and it's working, and it's out there. And Hashgraph was probably the leader in competing for this space. However, Hashgraph doesn't have these kind of transaction speeds, and so this is the fastest blockchain you've never heard of. And I won't even give you the name yet. They've been working behind the scenes, not to our space. So they've been approaching the enterprise space. So they're going to big companies and offering their services. Now they are working on doing a token release later this year, and so it won't be available to U.S. citizens. It's just as part of the deal. You know, the deal with ICOs and anything related to token releases that way. Just for security reasons, they don't want to end up with problems with the SEC, but probably be a really good opportunity for those non-U.S. citizens. I'll continue to bring updates. I have met the executive team, and hopefully I can bring them on for an AMA. I would love that. We'll see. For now, they're just working behind the scenes to line up some bigger enterprise deals. The reason I talk about them is because I was blown away with 3 nodes, essentially 8 million transactions per second, at a cost that's 1/1,000,000th the cost of an Ethereum transaction, which is faster and cheaper than anything out there, including Cardano and even Polkadot. And their solution is actually working, functioning. It's not, hey, this will work in 6 months. It's actually out there, and it has no token that you can buy or invest in, unfortunately. So they are accepting angel investors who are accredited investors in the U.S. So there is some openings for that only right now. They will release a token later, which will not be available to my awareness, even accredited investors in the U.S. That will be within the jurisdictions that they're, I guess, not worried about the regulators. So I'll bring you more on that as that comes out, but it's nice to know, because I've been thinking, man, the major problems with blockchain is it gives you a really secure database, but the transaction per second are just so slow that, like, the enterprise world will never use this stuff. Well, they've solved some big problems, and many big problems. I only talked about a few of them. They actually solved many of the problems out there, even with existing blockchains, in some very creative ways. Well, I'll go into one more. So what would happen if you lost your keys to your wallet, and say that computer got thrown away? So you're kind of screwed, right? Because you don't have the 24 keywords to be able to, essentially get access to your wallet again, and so that money is lost. Or if you have a fire in your house, and you have, like, everything stored on paper in your safe, but that safe, burns down, or everything in it gets superheated and that burns, and you lose your keys. Well, they've created some very ingenious ways to be able to set it up in a secure way that you can still access that wallet. So I won't go into it too much, but if I can get the founder on for an AMA, I would love to have him go through it, because there's a number of different ways that they can secure that, and that you can set up things as backup plans in case something like that were to happen. And so a lot of the problems out there in blockchain, they've solved, and I was just blown away that this company's been around for 3 or 4 years, and I had never heard of them. So in the coming weeks and months, though, you will hear about them a lot. I want to thank each of you for joining me, and we will see you next time. Bye.